Let's talk some Yankees baseball with New York Post Yankees beat writer Greg Joyce, who's live from Yankee Stadium. My man, looking good. How you feeling today, man?
Good, Brent. How you doing?
All right, feeling great. Just came out from Giants practice, but let's talk some Yankees baseball because New York sports is hot right now. Let's dive into this thing because we've actually had a few games to see how the trade deadline acquisitions have looked. How do you think these guys are fitting in? Are they upgrades per se?
Yeah, they certainly look like it so far. I think Jazz Chisholm has been just about as much as the Yankees could have expected so far, not just from an offensive standpoint where, he's really kind of been a shot of energy in the middle of the lineup. A lot of people thought he might come in and hit leadoff, which he's been doing at times, but he's gone, he's been hitting fifth or sixth and looks the part there to kind of beef up the middle of that lineup. But I think the most impressive thing is just how he's handled third base so far. Never played there before last Monday, and now it's like you said, about a week of games, and he looks like a natural over there. And Aaron Boone keeps saying there's going to be growing pains, which I think you still have to expect. There's going to be some times here over the final 2 months of the regular season where there'll be a play here or there where you can say, yeah, that makes sense. He hasn't played third base, but really he's aced the test so far. Just his athleticism has stood out, kind of allowed him to kind of just look at ease over there. And he was excited just to be able to get back in the infield. Came up as a shortstop, moved to second, then moved to center field, wanted to get back in the infield. He made a comment the other day. He feels like he deserves to be in the infield. So he seems excited about third base and, really just a shot of energy. And then Mark Leiter Jr., they've thrown him right into the fire, high leverage situations. He's responded well. Brought that swing and miss that they needed in the bullpen. Haven't seen a ton of Daniel De Los Santos so far, but again, another guy that brings that swing and miss that they need. So far so good. Like you said, it's just about over a week around a week that most of these guys have been here. But the first impressions have been strong.
When you talk Jazz Chisholm, he's got the heart of Josh Hart, and he's electrifying like Odell Beckham Jr. New York was made for this kid, and he's really thriving since he's been on that Yankees team. Remember back in the Subway Series before the trade deadline, Carlos Mendoza, Mets manager Carlos Mendoza, was kind of pitching around Aaron Judge. The Blue Jays have now made headlines for intentionally walking Judge 4 times this past weekend. Do you think this is the strategy that teams are going to continue to use when facing the Yankees moving forward?
Yeah, we'll see. We've seen it in doses, like you said. The Mets did it. This past weekend was the most extreme with the Blue Jays doing it early in games and with nobody on, 2 outs. So that was the most extreme. But then again, like we've seen, there was a game a week or 2 ago against the Rays where I believe in the 9th inning, Pete Fairbanks was on the mound, first base was open, and Judge came up, and you would think it was a tailor-made situation for them to just put Judge on and face the next guy. They didn't do it. They went after Judge, and it worked out for him. So different teams have different philosophies, different approaches on it. I think the more it works out for teams, the more you may see teams kind of copycat and try the same. Obviously, just the way that Judge has been hitting the ball, it seems like he's going to do damage every time he gets a pitch to hit, which have been harder to come by of late. But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how teams kind of adopt it or don't. Like I said, different philosophies. But then again, we thought, when the Red Sox ran all over the Yankees last month, we thought we'd see a lot more teams do that. And overall, it really hasn't happened as much. Now it's a different situation. So we'll see how it kind of plays out here. But it's clear that the Yankees kind of need to if teams are going to do that, they got to make them pay behind Judge.
Well, Austin Wells has kind of been doing a good job stepping into that cleanup spot, and he's been performing very well. So if this continues, do you think he's the guy that can be consistent enough to start making teams respect him and rethink pitching around Judge?
Yeah, I think he's probably their best shot of it. Him and Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton's been hitting fifth, except against lefties they bump him up to clean up. But I think it's up to both of those guys to really make teams pay. But Wells has hit pretty well for a couple of months now, but especially since Jose Trevino went down right before the All-Star break, and then coming out of the break, Wells gets pretty much everyday playing time and also moved into the cleanup spot. I think 2 games out of the break. And he's really kind of gone to another level here over the last 2 weeks. whether that's just because of the everyday playing time, I think has something to do with it, but also just it's kind of the evolution of a young hitter here. So he's been hitting well. I think he needs to continue to do that to show that he can be a threat. But then again, that may not stop teams, because then, even if they put Judge on and Wells gets on, then you have to stand behind him producing too. So it's not. I don't think it's just up to one guy, but certainly they need him to continue to hit the way that he has been of late, and to at least put that in teams' mind.
All hands on deck, and it's got to be a consistency thing. All right, let's look ahead a little bit, Greg, because the next up for the Yankees is the Angels, Rangers, White Sox, and the Tigers. All these teams are under 500. So do you think that this is a prime part of the season schedule-wise for the Yankees to put themselves back on the top of the AL East?
Yeah, it certainly looks that way on paper. They came out of the, right before the All-Star break and right out of the break, they had a lot of divisional teams, and then the Mets, they had the Subway Series mixed in there. We had the Phillies last week, so it just a lot of tough teams out of the break, around the break. But now the schedule seems to soften up a little bit, which if you play into that can work against you. But it does seem like a prime opportunity for them to kind of continue this run they've been on over the last week to 10 days. I think it's going to start with their starting pitching. When they were going so good in the first 2 months of the season, it was all about their starting, just giving them a chance every night and going deep in games, which helped their bullpen. And with the offense clicking like it was, they always had a chance every single night. So I think it's going to come back to that. We've seen some guys start turning around here the last couple of weeks in the rotation. Carlos Rodon's pitched better of late. But they need to kind of get that whole rotation moving in the right direction here. And Luis Gil, who starts tonight, has looked better of late. Cole's been kind of up and down after his delayed start. Stroman's kind of struggled lately. Nestor Cortez has, pitched better his last time out, but still kind of got to get him back on track. So I think these next few weeks is kind of a prime opportunity for those starters to kind of get back in a groove here.
I don't know, Greg. I'm kind of scared of those White Sox, man. What a dangerous team those guys are. All right,
they got to beat somebody here.
They got to beat somebody. It just can't beat the Yankees. Greg, Joyce, enjoy the game tonight, man. Thanks for taking time out of your day.
You got it. Thanks, Brandon.